back again. I'm your host, Jesse Swear, nationally recognized inclusive fitness trainer, Solar Sneaker Flex instructor. You can find out more about me. Visit my website at www.jesseswear.com. Today I'm going to show you an exercise which is a little more advanced, utilizing these resistance bands to help you create greater extension. Now, when I say greater extension, I'm talking about greater extension on your spinal column, because we want to be able to get extension of our spine with any type of rotational exercises. Especially if you're an athlete, you want to be able to have that extension rotationally. If you're doing any type of chest presses, you want to be able to extend as far as you can back, because you want your chest to lift up above the shoulders so that you can get greatest depth of the chest while doing those types of exercises. But extension is really important in terms of the spinal column, because it allows you to have greater thoracic mobility as well and greater independence as we age. So I'm going to use a mat like this. You can just utilize a floor, and then I'm going to utilize these to show you the different routine that I'd like you to try as you start aging. So I'm going to lie down here, and I'm going to show you two different ways, right? Typically, I'm going to take my arms behind me like this, and I'm going to do an active exercise where I'm lifting up like I'm a Superman. Some would call this the Superman exercise, or an airplane position in yoga, where I'm keeping my feet on the ground and I'm trying to engage my back and my lower back. And then I'm going to go to a passive Superman, where I utilize my hands and I passively push myself up a little higher. Now you notice I'm getting much higher as I do this passively. Actively, this is as high as I can go. However, I want to be able to bridge that gap to get this high. However, this is passive. So how do I bridge that gap between the active range of motion, or the thoracic extension, or my spinal extension, to the passive, and bridge that gap so that when I actively do it, I look like the passive position? Well, you can use resistance bands like this, and I'm going to show you. Again, this is more advanced, so you want to work on making sure that you can do active and passive type extensions, keeping those hips down before you engage in this type of mobility exercise. So I'm going to just wrap these bands through here and wrap it here. So they can be low, they can be high. I'm going to have this high in this position, and I'm going to lie down and I'm going to do the exact same thing, but now I'm going to engage actively by holding this band, and then I'm going to lift up, and I'm going to bring my elbows back, and I'm going to engage that lower back, and I'm going to create tightness, where engagement of the back muscles in the extension, or the spinal extension, thoracic extension, and I'm holding this, and I'm squeezing, and now my job is to let go of this band, but to stay in this position and hold it as long as I can, right? While engaging and pulling the scapula together, the lats together, the upper, the mid, and the lower traps together, which run all the way down into the lower lumbar. And to make it harder, you can, or to make it easier, or some would say, you can add different resistance bands along the way. Because again, I want to bridge that gap between the active range of motion and my passive range of motion. So I'm lying here again, and I'm going to actively engage. The band's going to assist. And now if you notice, this range is starting to look like my passive range. And I want to hold, and I want to engage and squeeze, and I got to let go. And as soon as I let go, on 3, 2, 1, I want to stay up there. As you notice, I could not stay up there, so that's where my limitations are with that red band. So I want to continue to work on working actively and passively with assistance of these types of bands until I can bridge that gap between my active position in my passive position, and that passive position looks more like that active position with the use of these bands. Hope you learned something today, and I hope you implement this into your daily routine. Just be careful letting go of those bands. Make sure there's nothing that's breakable behind you. Peace, my friends, and subscribe.